Hi everyone, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. Today's tutorial is going to be a crochet stitch tutorial, and the stitch is called the Close Chevron Stitch. Grab yourself a scrap ball of yarn and a matching hook. In my case, it'll be worsted weight and a 5mm hook. For this sample, I used 2 colors. I'm going to explain to you how to do this stitch and how often to change the colors for this style sample. I will be doing it in one solid color and going through the repeat with you and then explain how to do this. Okay, for this stitch, you're going to need multiples of 11 plus 1, and if you're starting from a base chain, you will add 1 more. For a sample this size of 2 repeats, I chained a total of 24. So go ahead and get a slip knot on your hook and begin chaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until you have a total of 24 chains. Once you have 24 chains, you may want to bring over a couple of stitch markers to mark the end and beginning of the row, as shown here on my swatch sample. We're now going to place 2 single crochets into the second chain from your hook. So this loop on your hook is just a loop on your hook. We're going to count back 1 and 2. Now you can work into the back bumps, or for my case today, I will be working into the front part of the chain. So we're going to place 2 single crochets into that chain. And I'm going to place a stitch marker into the first stitch. That marks the beginning of my row. Now you're going to place 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to create a valley. When you're working a chevron or a zigzag, you create peaks and valleys. This is a valley, and this is a peak. So we're going to create our first valley by skipping the next 2 chains, 1, 2. Place 1 single crochet into each of the following 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to create our first peak. We're going to place 3 single crochets into the next stitch. So 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to place 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We need to create our next valley, so we're going to skip the next 2 chains, 1, 2, and single crochet 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You should notice that you have 1 chain left at the end of the row. We're going to repeat what we did at the beginning by placing 2 single crochets into that last chain. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now at this point, you will notice that your work is curling on you, And it takes a little bit of rows to get it to not do that. So make sure when you're working across the row that you're working on the proper side of your row, not the wrong side. So here we are. Once again, we're going to begin with 2 single crochets into our very first stitch, 1 and 2. I'm going to mark that very first stitch as the first stitch of the row. Now for row 2 is going to be your repeat row from this point forward for as many rows as you would like to do. If you would like to do 2 colors, you will work 4 rows in the first color and 4 rows in the second color, and alternate every 4 rows, using row 2 as your repeating row. We're going to begin after your first 2 single crochets into your first stitch. You're going to place 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. That's 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to work over our valley here. So we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and single crochet, 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now that will bring us to the center of our peak, which is the center single crochet of our 3 single crochets that we did on the previous row. Once again, we will repeat that, placing 3 single crochets all into the next stitch. 2 and 3. Now we're going to place 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Create your next valley by skipping the next 2 stitches and placing 1 single crochet into each of the following 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now that will bring us to 1 stitch left. This is the reason we place 2 single crochets into the first stitch and the last stitch. We decrease for the valley and increase for the peak. So here we are at the end of the row, row 2, and we're going to place 2 single crochets into that last and final stitch of the row. 1 and 2. Now, if you so choose, you could continue to work this pattern in one solid color. You could change colors every row, however you wish. If you would like to do a 2-color, like the swatch I have here, when you come to the end of your 4th row and your last stitch, you will complete the very last stitch with the alternate color. So I'm bringing it up the sides. Now I can clean up the edge by single crocheting down each side of the project. But I have completed the last stitch of the 4th row by bringing my secondary color through to finish the stitch. Now I can chain 1, turn my work, and begin my repeat of row 2. 2 single crochets into that first stitch, and I'm going to mark that very first one as the first stitch of the row. Then I'm going to place 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, I'm going to create that valley, 1, 2, skipping 2 stitches, and single crocheting 1 single crochet into each of the next 4, 2, 3, and 4. And this brings us to the center of our peak, and we place 3 single crochets into that stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We've arrived at our next valley. We're going to skip the next 2 and place 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. And now we are at the end of the row, the very last stitch, where we place 2 single crochets into that last stitch. There's 1 and 2. And you would work that color for 3 more rows, finishing the last row by bringing up the contrasting color and finishing your last stitch. So here we are with the end of our close chevron stitch tutorial. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you make something using this stitch or have in the past, I would love to see a picture of it. You can share it on our Facebook group, send it to me in an email, or tag me on Instagram. Be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.